Today on Cooking with Gerry, we're making another pancake. We've done a few videos already with the pancake, but using different ingredients than a normal pancake because my information tells me a normal pancake is not quite so healthy. Because of the wheat flour, sometimes people add sugar. So we're going to make a different version of pancakes. So not your traditional type of pancake. And what I want to do is I want to finish off all the powders and flours that I have because I've had them for a while and I think it's better to have fresher ingredients. I'll be going to the city in a few days and I will buy new products, new ingredients. So let's get started. Here I have a strainer and a bowl. I like to use a strainer because I buy these products from smaller operations and sometimes little bits like the shells or the seeds get into the powder and they're not removed. So I'm going to be putting everything through a strainer. This is corn flour. It looks to be about 2 tablespoons. That's going in. There we go. And here is kaniwa powder. It's a seed similar to quinoa and amaranth, just different properties, and it looks to be about 2 tablespoons as well. This has a lot of flavor, a lot of nutritional value, good numbers by way of protein to carbohydrate, especially when you compare it to regular wheat flour. Here I have coca powder from the coca plant. It's green, also has a lot of flavor and very high in nutrition. So that's gonna go in. Looks to be about 1 tablespoon, maybe a little bit more than 1 tablespoon. And the last powder is alfalfa powder. Looks to be just over 1 tablespoon. So that's going in the strainer. If I can open the center bag, there we go. Also a lot of flavor, also very high in nutrition. And I have here baking soda. Using a dry spoon, I like to put the soda also through a strainer because many times it clumps and the strainer will remove those clumps. I'm going to put about 1 teaspoon. There we go. And now just knocking those powders and flours to get it through the strainer. And there are some clumps of the baking soda. And I can feel with my fingers there are some hard pieces which will just go into the garbage. And here I have oat flakes. They are the milled oat flakes, sometimes called instant flakes, instant oat. I prefer the whole oat flake, but I couldn't find it in these small stores in the village. It looks to be about maybe almost 3 tablespoons. That's going in. And then just a quick mix to combine the dry ingredients. And then here I have water. Less than 1 cup of water. I don't know if I'll need it all. Let's mix and find out. No, I don't need any more. That's perfect. So I'll show you what it is. You can see the color because of the green, the powders. So what I'm going to do, no, a little bit more water, because the ingredients will absorb the water, and I want to have enough water that can happen. So mixing, it smells already really good. I am going to let this sit and soak up the water for probably about 10 minutes. And in those 10 minutes, I'm also going to prepare the other ingredients, which are an apple, and I will probably use half of this ripe avocado. So I'm going to turn off the camera and we'll come back in about 10 minutes and go through the rest of the process. Part 2 now of the pancake cooking making process. I am going to start the fire. Here I have a large Teflon pan, and it's good to have a lid to keep the heat contained. Here is the mixture we made in the first segment. It has thickened up a little bit because the ingredients absorbed the water. Here I have 2 eggs. I like to break them into a separate bowl just in case one of the eggs is rotten and I don't put it directly into the mixture. So I'm going to beat it a little bit just to get rid of the yolk so it mixes easier. And with my spatula, I will get everything, almost everything, that's still sticking to the bowl. There we go. I am going to put, here I have finely ground pink salt. I'm going to put half a teaspoon. Here I have virgin olive oil, a little bit, about a tablespoon. Yeah. And mix that together. The eggs will also help bind things together, help hold it together. And if you are someone, or maybe your kids, who don't like such an intense flavor with these powders and flours that we've used, you could make a combination of regular pancake mix with these different flours and powders, or whatever you can find at your stores, or maybe you can order online. Do a mix, experiment how much of the regular pancake flour compared to this kind of mixture is suitable for whoever you're making it for, because this is much healthier than that pancake mix. And here I have infused oil. About 1 week ago I got some fresh turmeric from one of my neighbors, and I put it with virgin olive oil and sunflower seed oil, and after about a week there is a good combination. So I'm putting a good infusion. The longer you wait, the more it'll infuse, but I don't have a fridge, so with this kind of heat it could go rancid fairly quickly. And turmeric has a lot of nutritional value, lots of good properties, antioxidant, antimicrobial. Just a tablespoon. And here I have half of the apple. I cut into fairly small pieces. I'm going to use the other half of the apple for the topping. And that's ready. So I am going to put some oil, again with the virgin olive oil. I prefer not to cook with extra virgin olive oil because I think it's healthier from what I've learned with the information, and also about a tablespoon of sunflower seed oil. That if you cook with extra virgin oils, you damage a lot of the properties that would otherwise be there if you left it raw. So I will always use extra virgin oils after the food has been cooked. So I'm going to pour this directly into the frying pan. And I want to distribute a bit better the pieces of apple. And I can get almost all of the residue off the bowl using my spatula. This spatula I've had for almost 5 years, and now there is finally an imperfection. I think it's my fault. A few months ago, when I had washed the spatula, I put it in the dish drying rack behind me, and I think this big knife was resting on it, so it created a crack. And after 3 months, when I was washing it, a little piece of rubber came off. So I'm going to cover that. There's 3 drops of the pancake batter that fell on the cooking surface. So I've cleaned those up. So that'll probably be a few minutes cooking on the first side, and then we'll need to do a flip. I'm going to cover the oil to minimize oxygen getting to it. And here is half of the avocado. Oh, I forgot to mention, if you want it to be sweet and you want to add sugar or some kind of syrup into the batter, you would do it basically at the same time that we put the eggs in. So that would make it a little bit sweeter for whoever wants it to be sweeter. So here is half of the avocado. I think it's important to wash before you cut it open, just in case there are some impurities on the skin. And then with a spoon, I scooped out the middle part, and I'm just going to mash it slightly with my fork. I want to add a little bit of salt. Also, with the topping, you can add a sugar or syrup. I have learned the damage, not quite half a teaspoon. I've learned the damage of sugar, what sugar does to your body. Many diseases that are overwhelming our society are due to sugar and this processed food that comes in boxes, long shelf life. So I try to avoid sugar as much as possible. Here I have about 1.5 teaspoons maybe of pure cocoa powder. Here I like to also use the strainer. Same reason as before, because sometimes the shell of the cocoa bean falls into the mix with the powder. The salt for me helps to balance the bitter of the cocoa. That's what I like to use instead of sugar. Also finished that cocoa bag, but I have another one. So I'm just going to mix the avocado with the cocoa and the salt. I would also like to say that I have learned a little bit in the past week to say that I will stop using sunflower seed oil. I prefer to use butter, coconut oil. I've tried ghee, which is a clarified butter, but the one that I had, that first jar I tried, I don't like it. My stomach doesn't like it, my mouth doesn't like it. It's not to say I won't try again, but ghee is also a good product to use for cooking. Coconut oil, olive oil. I like also sacha inchi oil, which would be similar in properties to almond oil. Walnut oil I've never tried, but I've read it's healthy. I've also watched some YouTube videos. Avocado oil as well is a healthy option. Looking for extra virgin, but not cooking with the extra virgin, and also trying to find cold pressed, because there's less damage created with the cold press versus the normal method, which is quicker, easier, but uses heat and changes the nutrition, the chemistry of the oil. So I'm just going to add that second half of the apple, which will add sweetness and contrast the bitterness of the cocoa. I also think tallow, which is the fat rendered from beef, could be healthy if you find the product that came from a cow that was able to live like a cow. I don't think the tallow from conventional factory farming cows is healthy. Lard from a pig could be healthy, although I have stopped eating pig products because my information tells me it's best to avoid anything with pig. And there's other fats from other animals that could be healthy. I'll be looking for them when I go to the city next week. I don't think I'll find them, but I can always look. So this is almost ready for the flip. Another couple of minutes. And also, best to avoid any other oils that come from seeds or vegetable oil. Like canola oil, I watched a video of a doctor who was great. He had a lot of information. And he went so far as to say, if you have canola oil in your kitchen or your cupboard, it's best to throw it in the garbage. Or you could put it in the garage and use it as a lubricant for whatever kind of machinery you have, or blades, which was their original purpose. And then they were discovered that we could use them for cooking. So in the 1960s or somewhere around that point in our evolution, we were taught that vegetable oil was healthy and margarine was healthy, healthier than butter. But now we know it's not. So best to avoid any kind of vegetable oil or seed oil. Corn oil, soybean oil, I mentioned already canola oil. That's why I'm not going to use anymore the sunflower seed oil. The flax seed oil and the hemp seed oil, for example, those are healthy, but not for cooking. Same with sesame seed oil. Although I have heard or read, I don't remember where the information came from, but sesame seed oil is usually not pure. There's usually other stuff added to the sesame seed oil. So my suggestion would be, if it's not a very expensive sesame seed oil, it's probably not a pure sesame seed oil. So there we go. I think it's ready for the flip. And I feel confident with this to do the full flip. But there is an easier way. Cut it into 4. Remove one of the 4. Put it on a plate. And then you'll have more space to flip the other 3/4. And then once you flip the other 3/4, give space back. And then put that piece that you took off. So it's important that the pancake is firm enough that you can flip it without it coming apart. No, this is too fragile. I can't do it. It's going to come apart. Okay, so I'll show you the easier way. I'm going to take a wood spatula and just cut it into quarters. It's fragile because I didn't use wheat flour. And maybe if I would have added 1 or 2 more eggs, it would have been a lot more sturdy, a lot more firm. But I haven't mentioned yet in this video, I have previous, but you can do this in the oven or the toaster oven, much easier. And also easier if you're cooking for a bigger group, even 3 or 4 people. Instead of making the 4 pancakes, you can make one big batch in one of those oven-safe containers, and that way you don't have to worry about the flip. So I'm just going to use what I have. I have no other plates, so I'm going to put 1/4, remove it from the frying pan so that I have space to flip the other ones, and it's really easy this way. Also, I can mention, excuse me for the change of my voice, you can make this as a side for dinner, especially if you're going to put vegetables, or you could put meat. If it's cooked meat, you put it in the batter. If it's not cooked, then you would need to put it first, let it cook, and then you could pour the batter on top. Or if you're doing it in the oven, much easier. Make sure the meat is cooked. Chicken, pork, beef, even fish. You could add cheese, you could add other vegetables, onions, garlic, a lot of people like. So let me just show you the part way. There's a piece of apple. And here I'll put this here so you can see it. Here is the pancake that's cut into 4/4, and then here is the topping that I'll have on the side of the plate with the pancakes. So this will cook for probably another 2 minutes, and I'm going to actually cut the quarters once again, each of them in half, so that the heat from the fire in the frying pan can get to more of the pancake, and it feels like a very moist batter. It's not going to be like the traditional pancake, which I don't think is so healthy. Even the traditional recipe for a waffle using the wheat flour, not quite so healthy, but like I said, you can do a mix, half and half, or as little as possible of the wheat flour or the box of pancake mix that you have, and as much as you can with these other flours. Almond flour has become very popular. in many parts, many countries. Hemp flour can also be a good option. Um, You'll have to look to see what's available. Many of the bulk food stores have these products, and you can buy just a small quantity to try it out first instead of buying the bigger bag, and then later you find out you don't like it. Uh, so I don't think you need to see the rest of the process because I'm just going to let it cook for another 2 minutes, and then it'll go on the plate with my topping. I will also add a little bit of extra virgin olive oil on top. I will not add syrup or sugar, but if you want to, or a jam. And you know, this probably would be really good if you like the ice cream. If you want to make this as a dessert, this maybe don't put sugar, and then the ice cream will provide the sugar, the sweetness that you and your family and friends will enjoy as a dessert. I don't eat ice cream anymore. There's too much sugar, and I don't think that milk or cream is a healthy food item. With my information, that's what I have determined. Either cheese I don't eat, although I love cheese. I would probably have some cheese if I had a fridge, but I don't have a fridge, and I don't want to buy a brick of cheese because I'll have to eat it within 2 or 3 days, otherwise it goes bad. And I don't want to have that much cheese in my stomach in such a short amount of time. So, thank you for watching my healthier version of pancake with lots of tasty ingredients, and I hope you have the motivation to try something similar. Dried fruit would work, or any other kind of fresh fruit. Up to you, up to your imagination, and also you have to decide what's going to be edible, enjoyable to the people you're cooking for.